I wanted to say good morning to the relatives and it's Yupia that he would talk up. I wanted to share a little story about the flag song, Lakota flag song. It was composed right around the 1940s by a man named Ellis Chipps. His name was Martin Ellis Chipps. He was the son of Charles Tiwahe Chipps in 1940. Now, he was born around 1910 and died 1990. During the 1940s, it was a difficult period of time for all Americans across the country. Indians and non-Indians and all races were called to serve the country that was in the World War II. And on a reservation, most of the Lakota men and Lakota women were volunteered to serve in a war. But prior to the Second World War, around 1800s, 1876, one of my grandfathers, great-great-grandfathers, his name was Ellis Chipps. He had a friend, his name was Crazy Horse, They're not related, but they were kolas, they were friends. And during that time, there was a war with the 7th Cavalry, and Crazy Horse took part in that war. And the Lakota and Arapaho and Shahia Laoyate, they defeated the 7th Cavalry. As my grandfather, Wolfducha, wasn't there at that time. He was in Canada. But most of the stories that took place, he heard it from his friend Crazy Horse. At that war, the 7th Cavalry was defeated. And there were some young men that discovered that the cavalry carried an American flag that was laying on the ground next to the soldiers. So Crazy Horse and his friends took that flag and they kept it. And they passed it on to the Chipps family. I don't know where that flag is at today, but they kept it for a long time. We claim that that flag of the United States that's flying all over the country, that belonged to the Indian people. Because of the war, the warriors confiscated that flag. And they said they were going to return it the day the United States government and the armed service apologized to the Indian people for all the crimes that they had committed and broken treaty. Well, that never happened. So we always say that was the property of the Indigenous people, the flag. So they carried that information until 1920s. The Indians were made citizens of the United States government. And in the 1940s, there was a war, Second World War. The world was at crisis. A lot of our Lakota served in a war in Germany, Japan, and other places. Some didn't come home. So Wolfducha's youngest son, named Chipps, asked his oldest son, Ellis Chipps, to compose a song in honor of the soldiers, Lakota, and all the Indian soldiers that served in the war. So Ellis took some time and he wrote the song. Tungashalayapi, Tawapaha, Ki oya hankish ni narjinktea. The flag will stand strong forever. Underneath that flag, all nations will come together, and the generations will never end. Wichon chagekte, na oyahanke wanichikte. From that day on, that became the national flag song, Sioux Anthem. So Ellis Chipps made a lot of songs on behalf of his father, who was the original founder of the Yuipi ceremony. Many of the songs that went with Yuipi. But that Yuipi song, the word Yuipi was originally Hornchips' last name. People call him that. Before, the word Yuipi ceremony never existed. But in 1920s and 30s, Hornchips had a ceremony that where they tie him up with a blanket, and he was healing people. But at that time, most of our people were Americanized and Christianized. So when he comes to Wanblee to check his mail or do business, the people make fun of him. People said, there's that man that used to be Yuipi. And that's how that he was known as the Yuipi man. And today, now it became a ceremony name, Yuipi, all over. But originally, that ceremony was called the Little People Ceremony, the Little People Gathering. Oyate chististila chawichocha. Later on, people call it Wiwilawichasha. Well, that was Hornchips' story. So maybe they'll sing the flag song here. Well, that's what I wanted to share today. Ohechetula. Or my grandfather, Ellis Chipps, the original singing, they had a recorder. Pilamiyaye. Oh, hey.